Hey there, YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of Knife Safari. These are knives that I have picked up from the Texas State Surplus Store recently. This is where knives end up if they were surrendered to the TSA, the Transportation Security Administration, at airports in the state of Texas. And they end up in bins marked at different prices, and people like me go in there and pick through them and find stuff that we like, and sometimes there are bargains to be had. Um, so I'll walk you through what I've got here in this batch, and tell you a little bit about these knives and what I paid for them and what I think they're worth. Some of them are oddities. Let's start over here on the left. This is not a particularly valuable or strange knife, but I do think it's odd that somebody tried to bring this through transportation through a TSA checkpoint at an airport. It is a folding saw, camp saw, right? Got probably a 6-inch blade on there. Um, Seems to be in pretty good shape. Maybe they were going on a camping trip that they were flying to or something like that, but can't have that in your carry-on or in your pocket. Uh, so, yep. I think I will put this to good use. I do a little bit of camping myself. It's a lockback, Camillus, uh, almost certainly made in China, but I don't think it says on here. Uh, yeah. All right. Uh, this is a Gerber. This is an older Gerber. It's a slip joint knife, and it's in pretty good condition considering that this is from probably the 80s. Uh, USA made, Portland, Oregon. And there's a second blade on it. It's kind of a Warncliffe type thing. I have wiped these down with alcohol, but I can clean them up a little bit more with some CLP or something like that. There's a little residue left on some of them. Nice looking rosewood handle and steel bolsters on this, and brass liners. Okay. From Germany, we have a Puma, and I come across Pumas once in a while at the surplus store, um, and they usually look like this. They usually look like they've been pretty well used and sharpened a lot, which is unfortunate because in pristine condition, these things are worth hundreds of dollars. Um, oh, uh, FYI, for the Camillus, I paid 8, and for this Gerber, I paid 3. Um, this Puma was 15. Um, yeah, they are. I tried polishing up one bolster. Used a little case paste. That's a product that Case Cutlery puts out for polishing knives. It's a slightly abrasive paste, and I just rubbed it with a cloth, a rag, and this is what the bolsters looked like before polishing. This is what it looked like after just a minute of polishing. Um, so I'll probably go ahead and clean this thing up some more. I just wanted to see, what it would look like. Um, it's a lockback. It's got a little wiggle, a little bit of blade play. Not bad, just up and down. Side to side is pretty good. This is the Model 910 Puma Prince, and I believe it's 440 steel. Um, Stag handles, brass bolsters, brass liners, and it's a full size lockback. It's about the same size as a Buck 110. And you might think that you're seeing a Buck 110 here on the table, but this is actually a Schrade, USA made Schrade. It is one of a lot of knives that imitates the Buck 110. It's got that clip point blade. brass bolsters, lock back. I can polish this up some as well. Not a super valuable knife, but a nice piece. Uh, for I think this was the most expensive knife of what's on the table here. This was $45 at the surplus store, and it hasn't cleaned up as well as I hoped it would. I did get some superficial rust off of the blade using CLR. This is 154 cm steel. It's the sheepsfoot profile, combo edge, Benchmade mini griptilian with pink handles. I was hoping that I'd be able to clean this up and bring it back to a nice shiny pink, but I've scrubbed it some, and so far it is not. I mean, it's gotten a little cleaner, but it's not really returning to the bright color that I had hoped. So a little bit of a disappointment there, but still, it's a Benchmade, and it's got a tip, and serrations are the teeth are in reasonable condition on the serration. So, I don't think it was a bad buy at $45. Those sell new for well over $100. Got a Böker saw engine, right? So sometimes the little shield will just say Germany, and which usually indicates that they were assembled in Germany with parts that came from elsewhere. If it says Solingen, Zollingen on the little badge, then it's actually manufactured, top to bottom in Germany. This one is 440C. Okay, it does have some use. It's a slip joint. It's got two blades. There's the big, you can see my reflection of my camera in there. There's the big spay blade. And again, stag handles. Nickel bolsters. This thing was $3, and these go for, between 25 and 30, I think, on Amazon. This is a Ruiki multi-tool. What's it say here? Sandvik 12C27, so that's Swedish steel. It's decent steel for a knife blade, better than what you'd get on a Victorinox. It's got a pair of scissors in there that are not bad. And another little multi-tool here that has a sort of a strap cutter and a cap lifter and a little screwdriver tip. And this appears to be G10 handle scales. Not a bad little multi-tool. Certainly worth more than $3. And seems to be in almost unused condition. How about eel skin on a knife? Have you seen that? So Buck put out a line of these a while back, I think in the 90s, that had exotic materials, things like eel skin and crocodile skin, shark skin, strange leather inserts. This one is eel, I'm pretty sure. Burgundy stain, brass handles, and just a little lockback knife. This was $3, and pretty sure it's worth more than that. One Spyderco on the table today, and it's a neat one. This is titanium handles. It's a liner lock. It's a little tiny thing. It's the Beholder Toad. This one has a bent tip. and it was $15. Were it in pristine condition, this would be worth on the secondary market right now probably about $400. Um, the bent tip obviously is an issue. I make it up to Golden, Colorado, which is where Spyderco is headquartered every year. I've got family in that area. I'll bring this in and see what they can do. They can retip it probably by removing some material, so it'll get even smaller. It's a small knife already, uh, but I think it'll look all right when they're done with it. Um, but yeah, nice titanium handles, and this is a rare piece. You don't find these very often. Um, Certainly not at a reasonable price. Uh, okay, then we've got a couple of knives from Browning that were in the $3 bin. Browning knives tend to end up in the $3 bin at the state surplus store, and that's where most of them belong. Most Browning knives these days are made in China, and they are fairly simple construction, fairly basic materials. It's pretty inexpensive knife. Um, the most valuable thing on it is the brand name. But this has not always been the case. Browning has made knives in the U.S. in the past and in Japan. Um, and what we've got here is one of each. We've got a USA Browning with really interesting two blades on it. It's a double lock back. We've got a primary blade that is a drop point. Okay, Browning USA. See, um, and really it's pretty solid lockup, right? Brass handles with wood inlay, and then the secondary blade on this thing is actually Persian profile, and this has got more wear on it, but I think I can probably polish a lot of that out. Um, so yeah, this is a upswept tip. Trailing point is also what you could call this profile, or Persian, um, which is a little unusual, a little less common for pocket knives. And again, we've got solid lockup. Okay. And then, so that's the Browning USA, and then we've got Browning made in Japan here. This one's a little bit larger, and then obviously pretty used condition. It's got one-handed opening on the main blade. Never see model number in Japan. Drop point. This again is it's a lock back with two different locks, and then we've got our secondary blade here, which is combo edge serrated clip point. Serration seemed to be in pretty good shape, so it did get some use, but it's not worn out. And I'm doing the wrong one. The lockup on this is secure, and it's got sort of a rubbery handle material. So yeah, and I can clean this up some more. It's a little dirty still. From CRKT, you've got a couple of knives here. This is the more common of the two, the K.I.S.S. This is with plain edge. You see these more often with a combo edge. I prefer the plain edge, so that's good. Halligan design. This is the model 5500. Tonto point. Chisel grind. Right? It's a frame lock. Pretty minimal. This is the K.I.S.S, K-I-S-S. I don't remember what that stands for, but it's an acronym. And then the smaller version, appropriately, is called the P.E.C.K. And instead of a Tonto, we get a Wharncliffe blade profile. And this is the model 5520. And it looks like it's missing one screw from the pocket clip, so I might have to see if I can find a replacement for that. Okay, this was in the $8 bin at the state surplus store. This is a Gerber. A lot of Gerbers end up in the $8 bin, which is fine. Most Gerbers sell for, 50, 60 bucks or less. This one is, however, a little different. This is in a premium steel. This is in CPM 20 CV, particle metallurgy steel with very high edge retention. And it's made in the USA as opposed to made in China. And seems to be in pretty good shape, at least on the edge. I mean, it's obviously got some pocket wear on it, but yeah, the anodized aluminum handles are still in reasonably good shape. Just where the blade is exposed here, the black coating has been scratched off a little bit, probably be knocking against somebody's keys in their pocket or something like that. But yeah, this is the, what do they call this model? The speed ball or something like that. Fastball. And this is the Cleaver profile. There's also a Wharncliffe profile of the same knife. But yeah, I think the Wharncliffe ones are usually in CPM 30V, and this Cleaver is in 20 CV. So high quality steel. They sell new for close to $200. So picking it up at 8, I think, pretty good find. From Böker Plus, got a Urban Trapper from Brad Zinker is the designer on this. There's this BZ VG10 steel, which is good stuff. Titanium handles, very lightweight, frame lock. Great action on that. Skeletonized. I think I paid, oh, you know what? This is the most expensive. This is more expensive than that Benchmade. This was 50 bucks. But, I thought that was a reasonable ask for that knife. Oh, actually, I'm going to have to amend that again. Neither the Benchmade nor the Böker Plus is the most expensive knife on this table. It is the Zero Tolerance. We'll get to that in a minute. Here's another Gerber. This one was $15. I was not familiar with this model. It's titanium handles, which is a premium material, and it's a button lock, and it's assisted opening. Unfortunately, the steel on this, I found out when I looked into it, is only 7CR steel. So tough, but not very good edge retention. So kind of a weird pairing to put a cheap budget steel with titanium handles, but all right. And it's got proprietary hardware, which is going to make it hard to disassemble, which I need to do so I can get the rust off of the torsion bar. So I'm going to have to find a bit that will unscrew this crazy pivot and this screw back here. So maybe more of a pain in the butt than it was worth, but an interesting piece. Oh, I skipped the how do you pronounce this? Laguiole, or Laguiole. This is the expensive brand of knife from France. I'm more familiar with the Opinel as a French knife, but these folks make high-end like steak knives, and they also make some pocket knives. And this was $3. They told me they really weren't sure that it was authentic, so they didn't want to charge me more for it. And I'm not 100% sure that it's authentic, but it's an awfully nice piece of wood. I'm not sure that you go through the trouble of getting something that's got like bird's eye figuring in it for a fake. I suppose you could, but nice file work on the back there. If it's real, it's worth a lot. Okay, zero tolerance. This is a Canyon designed model 0350 TS. The TS is for Tiger Stripe, and it's an S30V, which is still a premium steel, even though people are turning their noses up at it now, just because it's been around for a while. It's still an excellent knife steel. This has got the speed safe mechanism, which Canyon designed, and that is used in zero tolerance and Kershaw knives. So it's got good assisted opening, flipper action. The edge is in good condition. Blade's in good condition. Finish isn't worn off at all. I think it's been carried but not used very much. This was $100. And they go new for over 200. So yeah, I wish it was less, but I don't think it was a ripoff at all. Okay, now got two Kershaws left on the table here. And this one actually I may have shown in a previous video because I've had this for a little while. I picked this up at the State Surplus store. The reason it's back on the table is because I wanted to show you what's going on here. So this is Damascus steel, all right, but you can barely tell because it's been used, and the oxidization has kind of been polished off of it, right? I mean, the reason you can see the contrasting patterns in Damascus steel is that the different steels that they fold together and blend to make Damascus have different carbon content. And so when you then treat the knife with acid, the acid will attack the higher carbon steel more aggressively than the lower carbon steel, and so it'll darken that steel through oxidization, and you'll end up with a contrasting pattern, which you can still sort of see here in this steel, but it's faded, right? Because that outer layer that actually was attacked by the acid has kind of been rubbed off because it doesn't penetrate very deeply into the steel. This, by the way, is the scallion, which is the largest of the Leek and chive family. Or no, sorry, this is the Shallot. There is a scallion, which is a smaller one. This is the largest of them. This is the Shallot. These are made in the USA. So this Leek had the same exact situation going on with steel that was Damascus steel, but you couldn't really see the pattern very much because it had been polished off. But what I did was oh, there's somebody trying to call me. I treated this again. I disassembled the knife and I dipped the blade in hot vinegar, which is acetic acid. And I've got a video of that process, which I'll put a little card up to in the corner. And it brought back the Damascus pattern. So it's now looking good. I mean, it's got some kind of brownish tones or kind of olive tones in there, as well as darker gray. I'm not sure that that's how it originally looked. They probably didn't use vinegar. They probably used a different acid. But it looks a lot better than it did when you couldn't really see the Damascus pattern at all. And now it's pretty evident. Okay, so that's that concludes this episode of Knife Safari. You should like and subscribe to my channel for all kinds of knife related content. Thank you. Bye.